That's it, Cheryl.
All right. Beloved community, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is Thursday morning, 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, close to the coast. We're about 2 hours away out here in beloved, beautiful Coachella Valley, Palm Desert. So grateful to be with you on this wonderful Thursday morning. Center for Spiritual Living, Palm Desert, and friends all over the world. It's a blessed, beautiful day. Welcome and good morning. Let's see, we have a very special guest, one of the Sensational Six, but now, for today, the sensational one, the only Reverend Cheryl Guest. Where is she? Hop on here, woman.
I'm here.
There she is, Reverend Cheryl Guest, ladies and gentlemen. On the stage. How are you this morning?
I'm great.
Yeah?
Better. That's what I always say.
Great, but what?
Getting better.
Getting better. Always room for that, right?
Always room for growth, yeah.
Something about embracing where we are and the goodness that is, and always and welcoming an ever greater good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
That's it.
Where are you joining us from this morning? Where in the world are you?
Oh, I'm at home. I'm in Indio, California, and
Indio.
yeah, I live in Indio, and just staying out of the heat. You know, that's all I can do right now. This is our winter, you know, because like I tell people, if it's 120 wherever I am, we don't spend a lot of time outside. But if it's 20 degrees where you are, you don't spend a lot of time outside. But I never have to scrape snow off my car, you know, so it's a perfect environment.
How long have you lived in the valley?
It was so funny. I was just talking to my friend about it. I moved here on July the 15th of 1998.
1998. Okay, so 22 years.
Yeah.
In that time, has it ever snowed on the valley floor?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
I know it snowed in Banning one time because I was driving back from the airport and I got caught in a snowstorm. I was like, what?
Hello. Yeah, pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, welcome. It's good to be with you. Yeah.
You too.
So you know you're I think the fourth. No, you're the third of the new ministers that I have to interview. Tell us a little bit about just your process with going through that process with the other six. I'm sure you talk about that with them on your Sensational Six Wednesdays. Talk a little bit just personally about your walk with wrapping that process up, and how you, now that you are officially a reverend, now that we got the letters of call all put together and cleaned up and all that, how do you perceive yourself differently now? Do you perceive your life differently? Talk to us about that transition and what it was to go from Cheryl the practitioner to Reverend Cheryl the minister.
Well, it's and since I've only been officially a reverend since August the 1st, so right. I still have when people will say Reverend Cheryl, I'll go, who? You know, I was like, oh, me, yeah, okay. No, do I feel any different? No, I think that because through this journey and through all the things that I learned on this pathway to reaching this point in my life, it's always been for me to be part of this teaching. It means that you have to be authentic. You have to be exactly who you are, and in public and in private. So that's called an actualized human being, according to Lao Tzu, is that the man that is always exactly the same person, or the woman, whatever, but I see man in the form of human, is that's an authentic human being, that you've examined your beliefs, you've examined what your life is, and you recognize the truth of who you are. And so it's like, you know, if you're out and you're working for the pet ministry and you go home and kick your dog, you're not authentic, you know. In other words, that's a horrible way to put it, but you know, there's some people that have that mask, you know, and they haven't really embodied this teaching. And so for me, the most important thing was to be authentic. And, I'm always the same in private as I am in public. And somebody said to me, oh, well, yeah, but you don't walk around naked in public. And I go, yeah, but my character stays the same. So this is
Yeah, that's a little different.
just who I am stays the same. That's all.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
and
So,
I
so
love it.
pre-reverend, post-reverend, you're the same person.
I didn't, just because I have a REV in front of my name, it, I'm still just on the same journey. I just have more education and more, I've really gone into this teaching and it's really completely transformed my life. And so for me, it's been a fabulous journey. It was more at the beginning, I think, well, no, that's not true. It was a journey that I decided to take back in 2007 or 8. But it was funny because Mary Morrissey, what's her full name? Anyway,
Mary Manon Morrissey.
Yes, she came to our center and she spoke, and then she had a little seminar afterwards that you could sign up and go to, and I was fascinated by her. And so I went to this seminar, and during it, she broke us up into groups, and we weren't allowed to be with a friend. We were supposed to be with somebody we didn't know. And so what we were supposed to do is to tell the other person they were going to hold our baby, is what she called it, holding our baby for us. And at the time, the woman that I was paired with, she said, well, I want you to hold my baby. I want to write a book. And so I held her baby. And the only reason I can say that now, because you never tell anyone, but she did it. She wrote a book. And so she came to me, goes, you can stop holding my baby now. And we're like, yeah, baby, that's so cool. And then for mine, though, I told her at that time that I would be a minister. And I just, I don't even know where that came from, but it was just such a powerful thing. And I mean, the feeling and the energy around that was so powerful. At this thing, she gave away these 3 prizes. One was a CD of one of her talks, and the second thing was her book, and the third was the coolest. It was a leather bound, every CD, the whole Mary Morrissey, the whole thing. It was really cool. Wow. And I sat there and I looked at it and I said, I'm going to win that. And I did. And the energy was so powerful, I think, coming off of me, knowing that this was going to be the truth, that the lady next to me won the book. I mean, it was just like
influence
yes, that powerful thought, and it was just the start of a transformation, because I just before that I was a train wreck. I mean, I don't like to say that in a negative sense, but I just created so much drama in my life, I guess. Not creating drama, but the drama was from holding on to the past and just staying in that space and thinking that that's who I am, because that's how I was, this happened and that happened and experience happened. And so it was just, but for me, it was just such an awakening, an aha moment that has never left me.
Do you remember, were the seeds of ministry already planted in you before that workshop? Do you recall?
No, not so much that it was a cognizant kind of thing that I really thought about it, but I had spent so many years looking for God, outside of me, and thinking I would find a church. And I was brought up Assembly of God, which a little spooky, talking tongues, snakes, weird stuff. And then I went to a more mellow belief. I was Baptist for a while. And then after that, I found Lutheran, which to me was it's a beautiful religion in that it's just compared to what I had been in, but it still wasn't exactly what I needed and what I was looking for. And then I went back to school at a late age, and I took a philosophy class, and that's where it kind of, not the minister part started, but that's when the first starting awakening. And then somebody invited me to go to the center, and I went. They never went back because they were staunch Catholics. Oh, well, it's not for me. But me, I never left. I couldn't. I just, every Sunday I was sitting there busy scribbling all over my program. I wanted to hear every word, And the other thing was so bad is I just sat there and cried every Sunday, just cried for like 6 months, I think. every Sunday was so profound. Everything I heard was so intense and just opened up my spirit. Like I can't even explain. Just even thinking about it makes me want to go back there.
Yeah.
But it's just in that time period, it was like such a great thing that occurred. I finally found my place. That was it.
Right on.
But then I also found by finding the place that what I've been looking for has been here all the time. It's not something outside of me. And that was really profound for me. Very profound moment.
Awesome. Can you is in that moment in the Morrissey class, can you speak a little bit more to specifically what maybe you just did, generally speaking, but in that class, specifically about what happened? That could be helpful for people to recognize within themselves too, these aha moments. Do you remember a movement happening of your heart? Was it just that heart opening moment? Was there did you hear a voice? Was it intuitive? Can you talk a little more specifically about that?
It was just one time in my ministerial class, because our teacher James Mellon, he loved to play this game. I call it a game. It was called Stand and Deliver, which you'd just be sitting there on your Zoom class, minding your own business, and he'd do something like, Cheryl, what is faith? And you're like, what? Faith. What do you want to hear from me? How am I supposed? And I just learned by being there that sometimes the things that come out are just like, if you're open at the top and you're ready, you just get this download. And I think that that's kind of what happened to me. I didn't know what it was at the time, but all of a sudden I heard coming out of my mouth, I'm going to be a minister. And I'm going, woo, really?
Hello.
But I knew it was going to happen. And I also said, I'm going to be a minister and I don't know. I think I said, but please don't. No, I don't know. I want to say that, but I did say, I'm going to be a minister and I'm going to be on Oprah.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, it was just that strong of a feeling that I knew that this was my path. And I didn't follow it really heavily at first. And I ended up, before we rejoined with Unity, I ended up taking all of the Religious Science International, the original teaching for becoming a practitioner. But there weren't enough people to go on to practitioner training that had finished enough classes yet. So I had to wait almost 2 years before enough people had finished the other classes. But in the meantime, they had gone to the new, and they were going to grandfather us so we could do it. But I still had 2 years, so I went ahead and took all those too. So I double dipped, but it just made it stronger. It just, just reinforced the whole thing.
Love it. Love it. You mentioned a philosophy class that you took, Intro to Philosophy, speaking of aha moments, but you also mentioned, or you didn't mention, but you mentioned to me outside of this, The Cave by Socrates. Talk to me about, did those two things dance together, or what was it about The Cave as well that got you?
The Cave, the story is that just imagine that you are a society of people, but you've always been chained by the neck to the wall of a cave. And all you can see in front of you is the light from the opening. And so everything that walks past there is in relief, so you see a dark shadow pass by. And so you would automatically, people start naming it so that something would go by and they go, oh, that's a rabbit, oh, no, that's a horse. Oh, that was, so-and-so, whatever. And then one day they come into the cave and they take you kicking and screaming out of the darkness into the light. And when you walk into the light, everything looks different. Everything is different because now you're seeing it directly rather than seeing it behind that veil or that darkness, out of the darkness. And so the most powerful thing about it was that the teacher of this class, she said, so what do you think would happen to somebody that came out of the cave, out of the darkness, into the light, and then got so excited about it, they wanted to run back and tell everybody, this is not how it is. This is the truth right here. That is not a rabbit. That's a hedgehog, whatever, And so, so she said, what do you think would happen to that person? And it dawned on me, it was almost like the story of the Christ experience, Jesus, was that he drug himself out of the darkness into the light, and he went back to his own country, his own area, his own people, to teach them about this. And what she ended up saying was they either do one or two things. They either think you're insane or they kill you because you scare them, whenever you're in that thing. And I was like, oh my God, that's enlightenment, enlightened into the light. And it just, wow, that I don't know what it was about that, but just knowing that sometimes what we're looking at and the perception that we have of what's going on around us and the people around us is not the truth. And so you have to step back and see their enlightenment. Let them, let them experience that enlightenment. And I don't know, that just stuck with me so strongly. Just the thought of being drugged out of the darkness, so that's
Sounds
why
like
I love it.
Been a formative part of your path, being
Yeah.
drunk in darkness. You mentioned the drama earlier. So do you have a fear of being called insane or being quote unquote killed in
No,
your ministry?
no, not at all. I
No?
just, well, because I think the difference in this teaching and other teachings is that it's a very, very personal journey. Very personal. I'm not saying that other religions or other teachings are not, but for me, this is just a personal journey that nobody can take me on that journey. I am on my own little planet. I'm walking my own path, and I get to decide how my life's going to unfold. And I think that part of the reason that this is so powerful for me and why I don't have any fear around being enlightened is because I just live it.
Mm.
In other words, I'm not out there beating on people's doors saying, come join the church, or, this is the perfect place. This is the only religion. If you don't believe us, you're going to hell, so, which we don't have hell, which is another thing I really like. But I think that it's just such an internal thing. And it's just a knowing and this peacefulness and this serenity that just permeates your whole life. And so rather than jumping up on a box and screaming, oh, this is the truth, like Jesus, he had the right intentions, but he just had a lot of people with fear. And the same thing's going on now, I think, in our society. So what we have to do is just stay in that place of knowing the truth of who we are and keeping that eternal connection that we have with everything, keeping that one point of light, if nothing else, just being that point of light and just trying to stay in that thought and that teaching. That's very important to me.
Do you have a different sense of responsibility to the community now that you are officially a minister? Do you sense that at all?
Well, I know I have to behave myself better, but
No, you don't. Come on. Why do you have to do that?
no, I don't. But I mean, I've been, it's like I'm calling it now. Sometimes I have minister mouth, but not really minister mouth.
What is minister mouth? What does minister
I'm
mouth
not
sound?
going there.
Oh.
Go different direction, please. No, it's just that sometimes there's just I don't see like certain words as being nasty or bad or anything like that. It's just sometimes it's the emphaticness of that word and the way it is presented in our society now that it will pop out every now and then. Some of them, So,
Keep it real.
Yeah.
Keep it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I am who I am.
You are who you are. Let's see. Minister mouth. I like that. You were, let's go back to the beginning of Reverend Cheryl here for a few minutes. You were born in Germany.
Yes, I was actually.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was.
Just real quick. And then became a US citizen at 3 years old, but you said you've lived in Germany 3 different times. So talk us through kind of your childhood did you back and forth? Was it more in Germany than the States? Talk us a little bit through the beginnings of Reverend Cheryl.
Okay, I was born in Germany in a place called Vielflecken, Germany, and it's a little bitty tiny mountain town that was an old SS camp during the World War II, and it was about 6 kilometers from the Czechoslovakian border, and so I was adopted 10 days when I was 10 days old by an American couple. And so then I ended up staying there for until I was 3 years old because my adoptive dad was in the military there. And so then we came back to the States and we were here. I went back right after first grade and I was there for second and third grade in Germany again, in the same town, in the same school, which is
Wow.
well,
Wow.
my dad was he was a Hemi company. He was in heavy equipment maintenance infantry, and so that the biggest Hemi company over there was in this little place called Kitzingen, Germany, which is where we ended up living. And so, but it was an experience in the sense that the one thing that I am so grateful for having that experience is that first of all, being a child of the military, I've never met a stranger. I can
Mm.
talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime. I'll be standing in the grocery line and start just chatting with someone, But I just don't have that fear of meeting new people or anything like that because I was always the new kid, everywhere we went. I mean, I went to 14 different schools before I graduated from high school.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yep.
yeah.
That's a lot.
And you think that 2 of those years I was in one place, two, I didn't move for 2 years there, but after that, it was just a lot of different, just things because of my dad's, the nature of my dad's. But then we went back again when I came out of the seventh grade. I was there eighth and part of ninth grade. And
Okay.
then my dad, then we ended up going back to the States, not finishing the tour, because usually a tour was like 2 years, something like that. We didn't finish the tour that we were on because my dad they found out he had cancer in his spine and they medevaced him out the same day to Walter Reed, and it took us 2 months to get home because once you have to get into the rotation to move, and so we just ended up staying there until it was time to, go back home or go back to the States again. But I loved it. And the one thing I think I loved the best about it is because when we were Americans over there, a lot of the people that were in the military were so much younger, and you had to be a certain grade or rank before you could bring your family over. And so there weren't a lot of kids my age in my eighth grade class. There were 14 of us, but it was cool. But the thing is that we were all nationalities, all people of color, people, just from all over the United States and everything. But the one thing that was so important to us, and I mean, maybe it made us exclusive, I don't know, but was the fact that we were Americans.
Mm.
It didn't matter about your color or anything. We were Americans. That was the main thing, is we were Americans and we stuck together. And, so it was really difficult when I came back to the States then to see how. Then we moved to Tyler, Texas, the hotbed of racial tension at the time when we moved back to the States. And there were riots, all kinds of stuff, because segregation had been ordered in 1959 that we were supposed to desegregate the schools. So we had a white high school, and then a black, what they called a black high school. And they finally just decided, the William Wayne Justice was the Supreme Court justice at the Texas Supreme Court that had spent 12 years with him trying to figure out a plan. And he finally said, look, I'm going to solve the whole thing for you. I'm closing the black high school. Figure it out. So
Wow.
it was just like dumped, and for me, I'm like walking around going, you people are nuts. I mean, what is wrong here? I mean, one person has more pigment in their skin, but we're all Americans, so what's the deal?
Mm.
So it was hard for me to go back there, and it's like moving to Mars after living on the Earth, so, but it was just part of my formative years where I just saw a lot of things that have really served me well as I got older.
Did you interact much with German kids when you were there too, or was it your kind of American enclave?
No, my dad, especially the second time we went back, we lived on what they called the economy. In other words, instead of living in the military housing and on the military by the school and stuff, my dad thought it'd be better for us to live out with the German kids and stuff. And so one of my uncles was stationed in Germany at the same time, and he ended up marrying this lady that lived right next to us on the economy, out in the economy. We lived in a little place called Kleinlangheim. Little bitty town,
Yep.
translated, little bitty town. So anyway, but and I played with her sisters and I played with all the kids in the neighborhood that were German kids and stuff. And one day she said, "Well, do you still have your German?" And I said, "What German?" She was, "Cheryl, don't you remember you used to play with my sisters all the time?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "They didn't speak a word of English. You spoke German." I go, "I did?" I don't even remember it. I don't even have a memory of there being a separate language. And she goes, "Yeah, and my mother was Romanian, and if she told you to do something, you understood that too, and you just go do it." I was like, "I
Wow.
did? I didn't know. I thought they spoke English." But it's just being a child's mind when you immerse them in that, and I think that's what my dad wanted. But it's weird. I don't know if I speak it. I can still understand a lot though, because from being there so many times and having like a total of 6 years over the course of my life of German, yeah, I can pick up stuff. But
Yep. So how close to the end of the war were you there? And part B of that question is, do you have any memory of the country being rebuilt or what it was like post World War II being there?
um, it was quite a, I mean, by the time I was cognizant of it, it was the 60s, so yeah, and it took a long time to reconstruct and everything, but like all of the impact of bombing and stuff like that wasn't evident. There were buildings that were missing and stuff like that, but they were in the process of rebuilding. And so no, I never really got that feeling, of that it was a war torn country. They really bounce back pretty fast.
Right on. Right on. Let's see. You say one of your heroes is Dick Tracy. Por qué? What is it about Dick Tracy that makes that he's a hero of yours?
Because back when I was a little kid, my favorite thing on Sunday was my grandmother always got really early, and she would get the newspaper, and so I would lay on the bed next to her reading the funnies, when I
Funny,
could read.
funny papers. Yep.
And Dick Tracy was always the one on the right after Blondie and Dagwood was Dick Tracy, and so, but what I always thought was fascinating about Dick Tracy was he had that watch, he could talk to it and it would talk back. It was like I don't know if it was walkie-talkie or anything. So I have always thought, since I've been in this teaching, that if it can be conceived in mind, it can be manifested. And so I just thank Dick Tracy for my Apple Watch. That's all.
Could see that coming, huh?
Yeah.
Love it. You golf. That's near and dear to my heart, obviously. And I'm sure Jeff/Ed Harrison as well. We're both golfers. Where are some of the places you played golf?
I played a lot of different places. I played, in the Pebble Beach and Del Monte and all of those places. And then in the Bay Area, just played all over, and Ventana Canyon in Arizona. And oh gosh, I can't even think of all of them. Half Moon Bay. I actually when I learned to play, I was living on Half Moon Bay golf links.
Wow, cool.
It was like the 100th best hole in golf, or one of the 100 best holes in golf was 18. And I played that. That's where I learned to play golf. And I only had one lesson, but I guess I had a good teacher because I really do. I love to play golf. I could play golf all the time.
Yeah.
The best thing though is to take some Bloody Marys with you, and then it's really fun.
So that swing grease, the swing.
Yeah.
Right.
Just kind of relaxes you into it, so.
Let's see. We got a couple comments, Cheryl, I just want to bring up, and which reminds me, if you out there in the Zoomosphere, wherever you are, if you have any questions for Reverend Cheryl, please chat them in. Helpful Self says, "You go, Reverend Cheryl." And Adair says, she's one of our trusted participants here. Thank you, Adair. Says, "Reverend Cheryl, thanks for such an authentic share. It really communicated something beautiful about you and something available to me."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right on.
Oh.
Let's see. I've got another note here. So little known factoids. Can I share the little known factoids that you sent in? You're an aerobic
Yeah.
instructor?
Yes.
Well, it's more the next one that I'm curious about. You're a Beach Boy bunny? Can you show what is a Beach Boy bunny, Reverend Cheryl?
I had clothes on is all I have to say.
Well, just talk us through it. What is a Beach Boy bunny?
I used to, when I was teaching aerobics, I was really very muscular and good shape and stuff. And so I was out at a water park with my kids. My kids, now I weighed approximately 115 pounds and had my two kids, and I'm out there and I'm rocking a bikini because I could. And so they had people that were walking around and asking the girls, to be a beach boy or go out, and you got free tickets. You go to Ranger Stadium and you got to go down on the field and stand in front of the stage and be the beach boy, the entourage, whatever, and the weird thing about it was
Beach Boys for the beach. Oh, okay.
For the Beach Boys, yeah. And but the funny thing is that most of the girls that they picked were like 18, 19, 20. I was 30 years old and I still made a Beach Boy bunny. I was pretty proud of myself.
Right, absolutely. Get out there.
But it was fun, and we got to go down on the field and cheer, and when they were singing and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. And then they made us walk around, and we all were spaced on the baseline, and we were supposed to dance, which I love to dance, so it was cool. It was fun. But it was just one of those weird things that came out of nowhere. Love about this universe.
Right? Yeah. Hey, shake what your mama gave you. That's what I say. So being a mom, you have two kids?
Yes, I do. I have
two children. Tell us about your family. Tell us a little bit about your family and some of the most special things to you about being a mama.
I really, being a mother was, back even then, when I had my kids, was so important to me. And this sounds crazy, but it would be the first blood relative I ever had known in my life, because I was adopted.
Oh, that you've ever known. That's the only, is that, wow. Wild.
Yeah, this is my first blood relative, somebody that was actually, might end up with my weird toes, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
I can look at them and go, I know where you got those. But, because I was, my two adoptive parents were both part American Indian. And so we'd have these family pictures, and people would, see them and they'd say, who's that? Because here I am standing here with these, everybody's really dark and everything, but it was cool. I was never treated any differently or anything, but just to go through and not really see your heritage or see who you are, or not see those things that so for me to become a mom was like, wow, I love it, and I was so regimented while I was pregnant. I would not touch a drop of wine. I would not, I didn't want to be around anybody that was, anything. It was just so vital to me. And then I made the decision, because I started, I'd heard about, when you do epidurals, or you do something like that, or you take pain medication while you're in labor, that it actually does affect the child, So I decided, and I did it. I had totally natural childbirth, no drugs, nothing. But the coolest thing is when my daughter was born, and they laid her here on my chest, she was looking at me. Where most babies, when they're born, they're just like, oh, I'm drugged, and took them about 2 or 3 days before you could even see if they could open their eyes almost, So to me, that was just so important, and about just giving them every opportunity to start off equal in the world, not something that I did, or that I, that would, as I call it, wound them in the womb. And I was very, very, very conscious of that. And so my kids were, I look at them and go, oh my God, she has my eyes, or he's, it's really funny. Like my son, he has his dad from here up, and he's me from here down. My daughter's the opposite. She's got her dad from here down and me from here up. So it's like, oh, well, neither one of them really look like me, but that's okay, because they're my family. So that's all that's important.
Absolutely. And where are they right now?
My son lives in Austin, Texas, and my daughter lives in a place called Manzanita, Oregon. It's on the coast of Oregon. And
Manzanita?
Manzanita, yeah. So
Is that near Seaside?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with it. She just moved there this last September. She was living in Albany, New York, but now she's living there. They just want to be back on the West Coast, and she went to Oregon State, so she wants to, all of her friends and all these people are there that they're lifelong friends there. So she loves it.
Cool. So it came up with Reverend Dale on Monday. She did the rapping Jew. I don't know if you saw that at all, but we've pulled up a video of her. Are there any videos on the internet we could find of you? And should we go pull them up right now? Any videos out there on the internet that you're aware of that you're in?
Holy cow, I hope not. I mean, what kind of videos are we looking for here? And if there was a video taken in a compromising way, I knew nothing about it.
Beach Boy, Jeff, can we try and find a Beach Boy?
No.
Oh, that's looking now.
Oh no.
He says no. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Anybody out there still, if you have any questions or input or want to ask Reverend Cheryl anything, please, we welcome your questions. Sorry about the hand there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. You say you're unreasonably happy. Tell us about that. How are you unreasonably happy?
Because I'm just happy for no reason. It's just
simple as that.
It's just every day when I wake up, the first thing I'm grateful for is my sheets. I can't help it. It's just being in my bed. And, I think that your bed is a place where you spend 8 hours a day there if you're lucky, or maybe 6 if you're not. But anyway, why would you not make that the most perfect place to be during that 8 hours, So I'm really into, just being grateful for what is right here, right in front of me, right now.
Cool.
Whatever else appears, go into the gratitude. It's always just, unfolding perfectly. So, it's just, that's how I start my day, is full of gratitude. And then I do my spiritual practice. And so I can't explain it, but I just wake up with this, like, I can feel the spirit in me going, whoopee, whoopee. Yeah, let's have some fun. What are we going to do today? Come on, let's go, But
Love it.
A feeling of always just waking up in that place or this space of just being perfectly happy and serene and at peace. And believe me, I spent so many years not there that I crave this space. I crave my alone time. I'm don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm single, and by choice, for 13 years I've been single, and it's mainly because I just love my downtime. I love that time being alone. Even with COVID, it's not been that big a deal for me because I love my space. And, I like to play pool, and I have a pool table, and I just always have little projects and little things going on, just little things. I'm always got something going on. So it's like, I'm never bored. I'm never bored. I can't think of any time that I'm just sitting here going, I'm so bored. No, I always have something in my mind that is ready to come, ready to go, ready to do, And sometimes I have like 5 or 6 of them going at one time, which is exciting too. But I'm reasonably happy. No reason to be, just am.
Cool. Okay, Jeff, Ed McMahon Harrison said he found a video. I'm not sure if should we Cheryl.
What? Of me?
He said, okay, I found one. I don't know what it is.
Okay, what is it?
Should we trust Jeff or put the big, uh-oh, here we go.
Oh dear God.
I'm nervous for you. Oh my goodness.
Jeff.
Look at that.
Jeff, you made that up.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's Jeff Harrison in the Smith Media Producers booth, ladies and gentlemen. Always good for some entertainment. Which will make this transition a little bit weird, but you've mentioned it a few times. A little bit earlier, you mentioned the drama. You mentioned some stuff that you've gone through that you haven't always been unreasonably happy. What are some of the, and I've asked, I've generally asked all of my guests this. What's the dark night of the soul you've experienced, and what have you learned because of it?
I think it was when I came, when I just had I think one of the hardest times I ever walked through is my aunt was murdered, and
Your who?
my
Who?
aunt
Was,
Martha, murdered
wow.
by her son, who is a schizophrenic. And so it puts you in a weird position that not only are you the family of the victim, you're also the family of the perpetrator. So what do you want, so then you're left in that space where how do you, and this happened in Texas, and so they immediately want to execute him, even though he was mentally ill and everything else. And then it was an election year, so they were going to execute him, and they were going to do this and all this and everything else. But finally, saner heads prevailed, and he's in life, but he's in a psychiatric institution, but he'll never get out again. But that was just to be on both sides of that equation, and then my family in Texas, my extended family, were just ravaged. Everybody was ravaged by it. And it caused so much divisiveness because part of the family said, "Oh, kill him," right now. And then the other half said, no, let's wait and see. And so then the district attorney finally, after, he had to go through medical examination, but he had already been institutionalized before. And so it was obvious that there were problems with it, but it was a very, very difficult time in my life, but very dark. But I like to say not dark night of the soul, because Dale Olansky taught me this. It's a dark night of the mind. My soul's never dark.
So how did you walk through that then? That's talk about trauma.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary. How did you walk through that and maintain now and still be birthed into your outlook on life now, being unreasonably happy? How did you walk that out?
How to walk it out?
Or what was your process in healing, finding a spot, finding a place for it in your psyche and your awareness in your life?
Well, it happened in February of 2007, and my marriage split. We split up in October of 2007, and I think that it wasn't that itself that caused it. It was more a case of coming to realize how precious and how good life is, and knowing that the relationship had not been good in a long, long, long time. So it just kind of gave me the impetus to just, okay, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? And so in October, we split up on the 3rd, and I went to the center on sometime near the end of that month in October 2007. And just, I was still in a lot of pain and a lot of other things going on in my life. But mainly it was because I was not letting go of the past. And, it's so funny because, once you become a practitioner, they tell you, well, just get ready because, whatever you've experienced in life, you're going to attract people to you. And I'm going, oh my God, you've got to be kidding. But it's absolutely true. And I've walked through some experiences with some people that I've worked with that have gone through situations like that. And it's not that I can crawl down there and roll around with them in the pain, but I can say that this can be walked through. It's just putting one foot in front of the next, that's all sometimes that's all it takes, is just coming to that. But then coming into this teaching then 6 months after it happened, it really, really helped a lot. It helped my grief process tremendously.
Wow. That's wild. That's a wild story. Thanks for sharing that with us. That's wild. I don't even, I mean, a murder within the family is pretty darn intense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because of the way
But
it makes you divisive. Not the family itself, but it divides you in a sense that, on one sense, this is your cousin that you've loved since you've known him since he was 3 years old, and then here's your aunt who is your favorite aunt that was crazy as all get out, but funny and just loving and warm and one of the best people I've ever known. And so you have that dichotomy of seeing going from one place to another, and it's hard to find a place to land. That's
yeah,
all.
amen. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. Who's that?
Albert Einstein.
You said that's one of your favorite quotes.
Yeah.
How come? And how do you apply that in your life?
How do I apply it? Well, I think that we all have perceptions, and we've been brought up in a system or a social structure in order to make it easy for us to fit into society. But it's not necessarily all of the things that we've been taught and told are not necessarily the truth. So when I was going through this process, I was really big on examining my beliefs. Is that really what I believe? Or is that just what I've been told? Or is that what everybody else believes? And do I just go along just to get along, whatever. And to me, the thinking and the way I was thinking at that time is not the way I'm thinking now. So anything that's coming, and I don't like to say problems, I like to call them adventures. I'm having an adventure right now, or whatever. And by doing that, it takes the negativity out of it. So I guess one way to explain why I like it so much is if you're thinking in a negative mindset, you're going to stay in that same mindset. The only way you're going to move on in your adventure is to have a new perception or look at life differently or think differently. And people say, oh, I can't change my thinking. I go, well, you did when you started believing that. So why can't you change it now? It's belief, I mean, come on. Yep. You can do it. It can be done.
Love it. That made me think of Eric Butterworth. He calls problems projects.
Oh.
Same idea. Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Something to walk out and solve, welcome in a new consciousness, a new idea.
Exactly.
What do you want the community to know about you? What are your intentions as a minister serving Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert? What can the community expect from Reverend Cheryl Guess as a staff minister at our center?
Let's see. I guess what I put in my proposal for my letter of call, which is really what I want to do. I already work with pastoral care, and I love doing that. I love doing the visitations and stuff, and just keeping in contact with people that are not at their optimum state of health. Something else, some dis-ease is walking through their lives. And I also I work as an activities director at a resort during season, and I absolutely adore this job. It's the perfect job. You
work with Kathy Morton, right?
Kathy Morton, she's one of our practitioners. Yeah, she's my boss, and she's also the perfect boss. I'm serious, because this is the way it works. I say, well, what do you want? I'd never done what I'm doing right now when she hired me. I just kind of jumped in there and started just doing it, and she said, she goes, Cheryl, all you have to remember to do is you just make sure that they have fun.
There you go.
I'm in. I can do that. Let's go have some fun. Yes.
Yep.
It was, and so, but doing that, I think that it really speaks to my creativity and how I want to expand and grow, which that's what I'd like to offer to the center. I can throw a killer party.
Fun.
I'm not kidding you. People have been to my parties. You can ask them, but I just put it all together, and it's all about organization is all it is.
Let's remember that, everybody. Let's remember that. Cheryl throws a killer party. Okay, good. Noted.
They're always fun. I always have music. I always have great catering, and and then my staff, we decorate, we can transform a room. I mean, it's just like, we just have so much fun doing it. And I guess that's what I'd like to offer to the center. If we're going to do community outreach to different, not just to have a party, but community outreach to find opportunities for the people and the congregants at CSL to show up in the community, and that we become a community presence, that people say, oh yeah, CSL, they're here, and that, because when I was working, I worked for a long time for the Tour de Palm Springs. And there were certain groups that, when after doing it for like 7 years, something like that almost, there were certain groups that would, every time I saw them that they'd signed up, they were like, oh, good, they're coming because they're so dependable, they're so good and everything. I want us to be out there and having a visible presence, and doing things like, I don't know, just different kind of activities that we can all be involved in, or things that, and also just finding smaller opportunities, like with smaller charities out here that just, they don't get the big bulk of the money. And so they just need, like, if there's somebody that wants to go in and answer the phone, be a receptionist for 4 hours a week, or, just little things like that. People that maybe don't want to go out and can't, or don't want to do the AIDS walk or something like that, but they can still give back using their time and their talents. And that's what I really want to focus on, is their time and their talents. That's part of our tithing as far as I'm concerned.
Yep, that's part of it.
Okay.
Time, talent, treasure, right?
Oh, yeah, treasure.
Share your money, share your gifts, your spiritual gifts, and your time. Absolutely.
I'm glad I laid that one up there for you perfectly, so you could drop that one in. It was perfect.
It's the perfect volley or the alley-oop. Out of the park. That's right. Very cool. Well, it's been really fun chatting with you. Is there anything else you want the community to know about you?
That I am so looking forward to seeing everyone. I miss everyone. I'm not, I'm torn about what's going on right now, and I understand the need to be cautious and stuff, but I still think that our community, I think of it as an essential need. I mean, it's just like buying groceries or, whatever. And that camaraderie and that feeling of connection that we have when we're there, there's nothing to replace that. I mean, Zoom's great, and I love doing these things, and I love at least having an opportunity to do some outreach to our community. But I am so looking forward to us opening again and being all together again. That's all.
Yeah. Amen.
I miss you guys.
We all miss each other, don't we? And we will do that as soon as we know that it's safe and we're doing right by our community.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I still miss you.
I think we all feel the same way. I keep thinking about the sanctuary on a Sunday morning, and I only got a month and a half of that. Basically, I got here January 15th, and I think we closed down the first part of March, closed the building. But the energy that we have, I mean, it was just rolling out of bed on a Sunday morning and being so excited to go into the center, and the pregame, the hugs, the laughter, the chat, the music, all of it is just
powerful.
It's a gift. We're going to be back there.
I know
sure.
We will.
Yeah.
I know we will survive this. I know that we're going to come out stronger and better and more open and receptive to each other, and just looking forward to having that community intertwine, that beautiful tapestry that is our center.
The tapestry. That's right. Adair says she's definitely in for any parties that Reverend Cheryl is planning. Love it.
Oh, good. I'll have one person there.
I'll be there. Who doesn't like
I'll have 2 people there. Jeff, you're invited too.
We'll get Jeff and Carmen there. Well, no, we're going to put a little party together.
No, it'd be fun. I can do it.
Okay. Jeff says he's in. Ed's in.
Good.
All right, we're getting close to the top of the hour. Thank you so much for doing this. We're doing it for the benefit of the community, so everybody can get to know you. And we're so blessed with such rich consciousness and talent and commitment. What an awesome time for me to come in with 6 extraordinary new ministers. You're one of those, and to get to know all of you is a treasure for me. So thanks
it's for us as well. And just know we always have your back. We're here to support and keep this center going, and whatever you need from us, I know that each and every one of us are ready to just be part of whatever you need for us to do.
We're rocking and rolling. Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. Thank you for that. So just a couple quick announcements before we sign off and say goodbye to Reverend Cheryl. Tomorrow, Life on Love, back with me, another special guest, someone near and dear to my heart, definitely part of my family. I'm excited to introduce you to this individual. Last week was my mom. This week is someone else very, very special. So we'll have some fun for sure. If you were here last week, it was definitely a hoot and a holler being with my mom. Saturday, another meditation, specially created for you, the beloved community. And then Sunday, we roll out another magnificent Sunday service that, and I know I say this often, but Jeff spends quite a bit of time producing these Sunday services. You know, I show up and we do some recording, and you know, I make a joke when I show up on scene. Sometimes I say the talent has arrived. The real talent is the guy that's making this show happen. So and with Dr. Laura and with Dale and we're gonna, you know, keep innovating and having other of our ministers come in and so we can see all the faces and see how people serve and share. And Jeff says there's no I in team, that's for sure. So yeah, another Sunday service. And then starting next week, I'll give you next week's menu tomorrow during Life on Love at the end of that session. More of our new reverends. And we keep on rolling and rolling. We continue to be very grateful for your financial substance in support of this community. It's extraordinarily important. And I get a little self-conscious about asking for it every day. But ask and thou shalt receive, right? So we're going to keep welcoming. Your gifts to share with us. We appreciate that. Jeff, do you want to jump on real quick and weigh in on the comment that you just made? You have some particular insight on that. Ed, will you come off the couch? Are you there, bud?
Sure, here we are.
There he is. So you talked about class offerings there. Would you talk about that a little bit? I can't see you, but we can hear you.
I'm here. I think I can be here. Let me just see. Yep, there I am. Yeah, we're excited that we're going to put out some class offerings. And, you know, it's at a time where we've been doing a lot of these programs, the daily programs. But now that we have such I'm going to say a warehouse of knowledge with you being here and now the 6 new ministers, it's a great time to start offering some classes. And I'll call them pivotal classes of things that there are a lot of people out in the community, not just within our immediate congregants, but out in the community in general that are saying, I'm not sure what to do. You know, I now my kids have to stay home all the time. I can't go to my job or whatever it is. And the coolest part about it is the ministerial staff and Reverend Charles has really gotten behind it. Said, let's put some classes together. There will be a fee, of course, but we'll put these classes together and they'll really be designed to say, these are your stair steps to the future, to say the future is only better. You know, I like to say there's always a top to every mountain. And right now we're just climbing. And by offering these classes, it allows you to see that there is really a top to the mountain and saying, gosh, you know, for me, 10 years ago, I was a golf pro. Now I own a media company. I love doing what I'm doing and anything is possible. And so I'm really excited to say we'll be putting out some class offerings and it'll be an early interest list. So if you're interested in it, then we'll probably go forward with it. If there's not a lot of interest, then we probably won't. And we'll put together another type of class and just offer those out there. So that's the class offerings. And we'll probably see those in the next, I would say 7 to 10 days. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you, Jeff. Okay. Yeah. And that reminds me too, that we want to continue to expand our audience. So please, you know, we've got so much rich material on our YouTube site now. Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert, spelled out all the way. Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. You can go back to our archives. I mean, what do we have, Jeff? Now we've got 5 months worth of daily offerings. There's so much there that could benefit anybody from any walk of life. So if you have friends that aren't involved with the center, buddies from the gym, or you know, a restaurant or whatever. From any place, we encourage you to invite them to go look at our content, subscribe to our page, and get involved with our community virtually. We are definitely committed to growing our center virtually right now, and really invite your participation in helping make that happen. Jeff, are there other ways other than inviting people to the YouTube page that they can get involved as far as being exposed to all of our rich material?
Oh, you bet. You can follow us on all the social media platforms like Instagram, that's CSL Palm Desert, or Facebook. You can follow us on Facebook. And there, or excuse me, 3 times a week, we are posting something. And this is the coolest part. And I'm excited. I just sent something about 20 minutes ago to Dale, Reverend Dale, about an idea. And I'll just share it here. And Cheryl, if you don't like it, just give me the thumbs down and I'll just retract that email. But I thought, for us to get a better insight of who you are, and also of more of the teachings that really embody us, it would be fun. I said, what if we picked out a line, not a quote, but a line from, whether it's Science of Mind or whatever it might be, and give it to Cheryl and say, Cheryl, give us about a 90-second message of what this line means to you and how to incorporate it into your life. And then use those on those media platforms to let them know really what kind of oasis in the desert Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert really can be, and the wealth of knowledge that we have here.
Love it.
Oh God, that sounds like stand and deliver.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a yes.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's a good one. Yeah. Okay. Right.
At least you'll be able to prepare for it, right?
That's good.
No. My idea is they are all there and they just pull it out of a fishbowl and they have to be ready to go.
There we go.
They have the knowledge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
So yeah, on the social media platforms, please check us out there as well. And make sure you're checking your emails. If you're not on the email list, please go to cslpalmdesert.org and you can subscribe right there as well. So we're there 7 days a week. Or you guys are there 7 days a week. I just get to be this guy in the background. So thank you.
That's Ed, folks. Jeff, Ed Harrison. We love that guy. Reverend Cheryl, I can't see you. Can we? All I can see is 2 pictures of myself. So I'm definitely getting a whole healthy dose of Charles Hall right now.
Oh boy.
Reverend Cheryl, I think Jeff put me into speaker mode. So I've got me small and me big. Anyway, Reverend Cheryl, thank you for thanks for being there. You are. Thanks for being here today. Really appreciate you, and all the things that we're going to do together as a community. Very blessed.
Thank you for having me, and it wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it would be.
Exactly.
I didn't know what you were going to do. That's why.
Well, next time it's going to be an entirely different thing. All right. Wise Being says, thank you, Reverend Cheryl. Is that what you said, Wise Being? Let's see. What did you say? Yeah. Oh, no. Great job, Reverend Cheryl. Wise Being said that. Community, much love, much peace. Make it an extraordinary Thursday. I'll see you back here in just under 24 hours. The idea is to make it the best day ever. Much love. See you tomorrow.